Good morning and congratulations. Thank you, Dr. Bashan, for that kind introduction. During the Saginaw Valley Commencement exercises in 1981, I stood at the podium and received the Distinguished Alumni Award for that year from President Jack Ryder. It was one of the proudest days of my life. 37 years later, I stand at the podium as your commencement speaker. This is truly the pinnacle of my academic experience here at Saginaw Valley. Just as all of you are starting a new beginning in your lives, this day and this event causes me to reflect on my beginnings. My life began with a series of obstacles that I had to overcome. At birth, I was placed in foster care by my biological family because I was a biracial baby. I was then adopted by a couple and suffered physical and mental abuse at the hands of my adopted mother. At the age of 20, I married a former Roman Catholic priest who was white and 25 years my senior. By age 22, I was the mother of 2 daughters. Love was abundant, but money was not. One day in 1971, I looked at my small daughters and my 50-year-old husband, and I realized that I needed to get back to school immediately. This university provided that opportunity and helped me change the course of my life. Saginaw Valley College had only been in existence for 8 years when I enrolled in classes in 1971. I earned my BA degree in psychology in 1973, and after that, my husband and I sat down and devised a plan that we hoped would provide financial security for our family, including being able to afford college educations for our daughters. So I entered law school in 1976 and earned my Juris Doctor in 1980. From there, my career began an upward trajectory, culminating in my appointment to the 36th District Court in Detroit. Then being appointed by the Michigan Supreme Court as Chief Judge for an unprecedented 6 two-year terms. That court has the distinction of being one of the largest courts in the country, and I have the distinction of being the longest-serving Chief Judge in its history. After serving 21 years, I retired in 2012. Now, I'm sharing this thumbnail sketch of my life with you for 2 reasons. Number 1, on this, your last formal day of education here at Saginaw Valley, I believe it's important for you to know something about the person who's speaking to you. And number 2, to illustrate that any challenges and obstacles you have in your life, you can overcome them just as I did. Much has happened in the last 37 years, and every day, new challenges arise that threaten our world, our society, and those freedoms that we are entitled to enjoy pursuant to our United States Constitution. The degrees that you will receive this morning have prepared you to go out and meet those challenges in whatever endeavor you have chosen, and we expect you to do that. But in addition to having received an academic education here, you have also been infused with life lessons that you may not at this moment realize you have, but they will come to you as you go through your life and your career. My psychology degree was a foundation for law school and for my life. Let me explain. 1971, my sociology professor, Dr. Robert Yen, told the class this story. He was attending a conference in a major city being held in a downtown hotel. The first day of the conference, he put his suit and tie on, grabbed his briefcase, left his room, and is walking down the hall. Walking toward him is another hotel guest carrying his bundle of soiled dress shirts. He approached Dr. Yen, attempted to hand him his dress shirts while saying, "Medium starch, and I need them back by Thursday." Dr. Yen simply replied, "With all due respect, sir, all laundrymen that you know may be Chinese, but all Chinese are not laundrymen." 1972, my history professor, Dr. William Hoffman, told the class this story. In his hometown, there lived a farmer who always dressed in bib overalls and dusty boots. He drove an older model Cadillac, and one day he decided he wanted a new Cadillac. So he got in his car and drove into town to the Cadillac dealership. It's early in the morning, there are no other customers in the showroom, and all the salesmen are standing around visiting with each other. He approaches the group and says very politely, "Excuse me, I want to buy a new Cadillac." One of the salesmen turns around and looks him up and down and says, "You want to buy a new Cadillac?" "Yes, sir, I do." "You know they cost over $6,000. "Yes, sir, I know that." "You can't afford to buy a new Cadillac, look at you." Not to be deterred, the farmer simply left that showroom, got back in his car, drove across town to another Cadillac dealership. This time, when he entered the showroom, he was greeted by a friendly salesman who said, "Good morning, sir. What can I help you with?" "Good morning. I want to buy a new Cadillac." "I can certainly help you with that. Let's go out to the new car lot and I'll show you what we have." After looking at several models, the farmer chose one. "Now let's go back to my desk and I'll write up your order." After finishing the paperwork, the salesman looked at the farmer and said, "With your trade-in, taxes, and fees, the total is $6,256. Now how are we going to finance this today? Let me tell you what your options are." The farmer said, "No need, I'm paying cash." The farmer stood up, and out of every pocket of those bib overalls, he pulled out wads of $100 bills till he had put $7,000 on the desk in front of the salesman. The salesman picked up each wad, unrolled it, straightened it out, and began to count out $6,256. After that, he handed the farmer the keys, saying, "Thank you so much for coming in today. Here's my card. If you need anything further, please don't hesitate to call." The farmer drove off in his new Cadillac. My professors were giving us a life lesson, a principle on how to solve a problem, which is this. You solve a problem starting from the bottom with information that you know, and you work your way up to the solution, rather than trying to solve a problem from the top using information that you think you know, but turns out to be incorrect assumptions. This is a Chinese man. He must be a laundryman. This is a man in bib overalls. There's no way he can afford to buy a Cadillac. Incorrect assumptions. The principle is this. Successful solutions begin with information that you know. Now, I know it sounds simple, but if it had not been pointed out to me, I would not have incorporated it in my life and in my career. As a judge, I was the fact finder in every case. I began with information presented to me that was known, and I worked my way through the case until I could come to a decision. I learned this not from law school, but from this university, from my professors. In closing, I believe that the graduating class of 2018 is the most important graduating class from this university in recent years because of the state of affairs that we find ourselves in. You are now equipped to make a significant difference in this world. In the process, I urge you to keep your integrity intact, practice the highest level of professionalism, be tolerant of people who are different and the differences among people. Give back to your family who is stuck with you through thick and thin. Give back to your community, which is so very proud of you today. Give back to this university from which you have received so much. But most of all, be true to yourself, your inner moral code, your convictions, and your dreams. And when you hear the world shout to you, give up, hear the whisper of everyone in this room saying to you, keep going, you got this. Thank you and much success.